want to take a few minutes tonight to acknowledge the fact that it has been about a year and a half that I have been doing videos for the YouTube community now, the gun community to be more specific. Before that, I had actually joined YouTube before that, but just so that I could post 1 or 2 videos that I used that I linked to other forums. I wasn't using YouTube actually as a forum itself. Didn't even know YouTube communities existed or that you got your own page or channel as they call it. I just thought it was a place where you could upload videos and you could link those videos to other places. So I did a couple of videos, never thought anything of it. It was about a year and a half ago, almost to the day, that I first actually noticed I had my own channel and that I actually had subscribers. And I remember that day because I looked and I was like, 11 people are subscribed to me, and I figured out what that meant, that they were following my channel. Now it's a year and a half later, almost to the day, and I have over 12,500. Still a very small number, but considerably more than the 11 that I started off with a year and a half ago. So to commemorate that, I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a contest. So the contest being, I wanted to do something for people that are like myself. And by like myself, I mean gun nerds. Guys that aren't only into guns, but they're also into a lot of other nerdy things. Because I've seen a lot of examples on here. The guys that are into guns are also into things like comic books or sci-fi, fantasy things, like the Lord of the Rings, that kind of stuff. I see little comments people make, things they have on their pages. So it makes me think, well, there's lots of guys out there that are what you could call gun nerds. Now what you're saying, I can't possibly be a gun nerd. Gun nerds aren't this masculine and attractive and just overall manly kind of guy like I am, but believe it or not, I am a little tiny bit of a gun nerd. I mean, I love guns. I like comic books. I like Monty Python. I even have been known to watch the occasional Star Trek show, even Star Wars, Babylon 5. Just tons of a big Lord of the Rings fan. Just all those things. I like these things. I have 1 or 2 animation or comic book related things in my home actually. Maybe even a few action figures. So yep, I think I do. Although I kind of break the nerd mold, I do think I would technically classify as a nerd. So I started thinking, well, what would someone who likes guns, who also is an uber nerd, really like to win in a contest? Now don't get me wrong, I know this contest is going to be very limiting. There's going to be very few people that enter this contest. I will be surprised if I get a dozen entries into this. And I got like 350 into my contest before last and 200 and something in my last contest. So, like I say, I will be really surprised if I get even a dozen entries. But it's going to be open to the gun nerds, guys that are like guns that are also nerds. And I started thinking to myself, what are guys like this, what would they like? So I started thinking, well, guys like this are also often very sexually repressed, so they like women. They like especially women with big boobs. They tend to be very into action adventure and comic books, things like that. So they like heroines, they like superheroes. And of course they all like guns. Then I started thinking, well, a movie that was just out recently that was very popular was The Avengers. And there is a character in there who is a hot woman, who is an action adventure heroine, who super spy, who also has guns. In fact, she carries Glock 26s. So I thought, well, and that woman is the Black Widow, so I thought, well, why don't I do a prize that's related to the Black Widow? So I came up with this prize. It is a Randy Bowen cold cast porcelain sculpture of the Black Widow. So this is the Natasha Romanoff statue done by Randy Bowen. If you don't know who Randy Bowen is, he's a very successful, very famous sculptor that does a lot of busts and full sculptures, like tabletop sculptures like this for the Marvel Universe. So here, I'll give you a closer look up at it. This is what's going to be the prize for the contest, so let's go over here and take a closer look at it. Alright, here she is, and just to give you some scale here, this is my Colt Government 19, my Colt Commander 1911 next to her. So she's 14.5 inches tall, so she's not a tiny sculpture, not one of the mini busts or anything. She is one of the larger sculptures that he does. So let me give you a close-up look of the actual sculpture itself here. As you can see, it is a very well made statue. Randy Bowen does some very good work, even down to the little faces here on the base. But a very well sculpted item. This is the traditional Marvel Universe Earth 616 Black Widow. Very, very cool item. If you don't want this item, you are not a gun-loving nerd. You're not a true nerd if you don't want this. Because this is super cool. I'm sitting here looking at it thinking, man, I really don't want to give this to anybody. Because this is super cool. And if it wasn't for the fact that I've already got another one, I wouldn't give this away. But I have two of these, so I'm going to give one away here. But that's your prize. So if you're truly a gun-loving nerd and you want this, I guess I should tell you here how you got to enter. The only thing you got to do to enter is just leave a comment and tell me what makes you a nerd other than just loving guns, and you are entered in my contest. So I hope to hear from as many of you as I can. Like I said, I don't expect a big turnout for this because how many people are going to admit they're nerds? But that's the prize, and that's how you enter.